Hi guys, happy Friday. I miss you guys terribly, and I hope we can see each other soon. All right, we are on page 139, and it is Jack telling his story. And he said that he met Augie at the ice cream store, and Mr. Tushman wants him to go in to see Augie before school started. All right, it says, Why I Changed My Mind. That's the title of this chapter. Who else did Mr. Tushman call? I asked Mom later that night. Did he tell you? He mentioned Julian and Charlotte. Julian, I said. Ugh, why Julian? You used to be friends with Julian. Mom, that was like in kindergarten. Julian's the biggest phony there is, and he's trying so hard to be popular all the time. Well, said Mom, at least Julian agreed to help this kid out. Got to give him credit for that. I didn't say anything because she was right. What about Charlotte, I asked. Is she doing it too? Yes, Mom said. Of course she is. Charlotte's such a goody two-shoes, I answered. Boy, Jack, said Mom, you seem to have a problem with everybody these days. It's just, I started. Mom, you have no idea what this kid looks like. I can imagine. No, you can't. You've never seen him. I have. It might not even be who you're thinking it is. Trust me, it is. And I'm telling you, it's really, really bad. He's deformed, Mom. His eyes are like down here, I pointed to my cheeks, and he has no ears, and his mouth is like... Jamie had walked into the kitchen to get a juice box from the fridge. Ask Jamie, I said. Right, Jamie. Remember that kid we saw at the park after school last year? That kid named August? The one with the face? Oh, that kid, said Jamie, his eyes opening wide. He gave me a nightmare. Remember, Mommy, the nightmare about the zombies from last year? I thought that was from watching a scary movie, answered Mom. No, said Jamie. It was from seeing that kid. When I saw him, I was like, ah, and I ran away. Wait a minute, said Mom, getting serious. Did you do that in front of him? I couldn't help it, said Jamie, kind of whining. Of course you could help it, Mom scolded. Guys, I have to tell you, I'm really disappointed by what I'm hearing here. And she looked like how she sounded. I mean, honestly, he's just a little boy, just like you. Can you imagine how he felt to see you running away from him, Jamie, screaming? It wasn't a scream, argued Jamie. It was like a, ah! He put his hands on his cheeks and started running around the kitchen. Come on, Jamie, said Mom angrily. I honestly thought both my boys were more sympathetic than that. What's sympathetic, said Jamie, who was only going into second grade. You know exactly what I mean by sympathetic, Jamie, said Mom. He's just so ugly, Mommy, said Jamie. Hey, Mom yelled. I don't like that word. Jamie just got your juice box. I want you to talk to Jack alone. I want to talk to Jack alone for a second. Look, Jack, said Mom as soon as he left. I know she was about to give me a whole speech. Okay, I'll do it, I said, which completely shocked her. You will? Yes. So I can call Mr. Tushman? Yes, Mom. I said yes. Mom smiled. I knew you'd rise to the occasion, kiddo. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Jackie. She messed up my hair. So here's why I've changed my mind. It wasn't so I wouldn't have to hear Mom give me a whole lecture, and it wasn't to protect this kid August from Julian, who I knew would be a jerk about the whole thing. It was because when I heard Jamie talking about how he had run away from August going, I suddenly felt really bad. The thing is, there are always going to be kids like Julian who are jerks, but if a little kid like Jamie, who's usually a nice enough kid, can be that mean, then a kid like August doesn't stand a chance in middle school. 4 things. First of all, you do get used to his face. The first couple of times, I was like, whoa, I never was going to get used to this. And then, after about a week, I was like, it's not so bad. Second of all, he's actually a really cool dude. I mean, he's pretty funny. Like, the teacher will say something and August will whisper something funny to me that no one else hears and totally make me crack up. He's also just, overall, a nice kid. Like, he's easy to hang out with and talk to and stuff. Third of all, he's really smart. I thought he'd be behind everyone because he hadn't gone to school before. But in most things, he's way ahead of me. I mean, maybe not as smart as Charlotte or Zamina, but he's up there. And unlike Charlotte or Zamina, he lets me cheat off him, and I really need to. Though I've only needed to a couple of times. He let me cheat off him if I really needed to. And I've only cheated off of him a couple times. He also let me copy his homework once, though we both got in trouble for it after class. The 2 of you got the exact same answers wrong on yesterday's homework, Mrs. Rubin said, looking at both of us like she was waiting for an explanation. I didn't know what to say because the explanation would have been, oh, that's because I copied August's homework. But August lied to protect me. He was like, oh, that's because we did our homework together last night. which wasn't true at all. Well, doing homework together is a good thing, Mrs. Rubin answered, but you're supposed to still do it separately, okay? You could work side by side if you want, but you can't actually do your homework together, okay? Got it? After we left the classroom, I said, dude, thanks for doing that. And he was like, no problem. That was cool. Fourthly, now that I know him, I would say I actually do want to be friends with August. At first, I admit it, I was only friendly to him because Mr. Tushman asked me to be especially nice to him and all. But now, I would choose to hang out with him. He laughs at my jokes, and I kind of feel like I can tell August anything. He's like a good friend. Like if all the guys in 5th grade were lined up against the wall and I got to choose anyone I wanted to hang out with, I would choose August. Ex-friends. Bleeding scream. What the heck? Summer Dawson has always been a bit out there, but this was too much. All I did was ask her why August was acting like he was mad at me or something. I figured she would know, and all she said was bleeding scream. I don't even know what that means. It's so weird because one day, me and August were friends, and the next day, whoosh, he was hardly talking to me. And I haven't the slightest idea why. When I said to him, hey August, you mad at me or something? He shrugged and walked away. So I wouldn't take that as a definite yes. And since I know for a fact that I didn't do anything to him to be mad about, I figured Summer could tell me what's up. But all I got from her was bleeding scream. Yeah, big help, thanks Summer. You know, I've got plenty of other friends in school, so if August wants to officially be my ex-friend, then fine. It's okay. By me, see if I care. I've started ignoring him like he's ignoring me in school. This is actually kind of hard since we sit next to each other in practically every class. Other kids have noticed and started asking me if August had a fight. Nobody asks August what's going on. Hardly anyone ever talks to him anyways. I mean, the only person he hangs out with other than me is Summer. Sometimes he hangs out with Reed Kingsley a little bit, and the 2 Maxes got him playing Dungeons and Dragons a couple of times at recess. Charlotte, for all her goody two-shoeing, doesn't even do more than nod hello when she's passing him in the hallway. And don't know if everyone's still playing The Plague behind his back, because no one ever really told me about it directly. But my point is that it's not like he has a whole lot of other friends he could be hanging out with instead of me. If he wants to diss me, then he's the one who loses, not me. So this is how things are between us now. We only talk to each other about school stuff if we absolutely have to. Like I'll say, what did Ruben say the homework was? And he'll answer. Or he'll be like, can I use your pencil sharpener? And I'll get my sharpener out of my pencil case for him. But as soon as the bell rings, we go our separate ways. Why this is good is because I get to hang out with a lot more kids now. Before, when I was hanging out with August all the time, kids were hanging out with me because they'd have to hang out with him. Kids weren't hanging out with me because they'd have to hang out with him. Or they would keep things from me, like the whole thing about the plague. I think I was the only one who wasn't in on it, except for Summer and maybe the D&D crowd. And the truth is, nobody's that obvious about it. Nobody wants to hang out with him. Everyone's way too hung up on being the popular group. And he's just as far from the popular group as you can get. But now I can hang out with anyone I want. If I wanted to be in the popular group, I could totally be in the popular group. Why this is bad is because, well, A, I don't actually enjoy hanging out with the popular group that much. And B, I actually liked hanging out with August. So this is kind of messed up. And it's all August's fault. Snow. The first snow of winter hit right before Thanksgiving break. School was closed, so we got an extra day of vacation. I was glad about that because I was so bummed about this whole August thing. I just wanted some time to chill without having to see him every day. Also, waking up to snow is just about my favorite thing in the world. I love that feeling when you first open your eyes in the morning and you don't even know why everything seems different than usual. Then it hits you. Everything is quiet. No cars honking. No buses going down the street. Then you run over to the window and outside everything is covered in white. The sidewalks, the trees, the cars on the street, your window panes. And when it happens on a school day and you find out your school's closed, well, I don't care how old I get. I'm always going to think that that's the best feeling in the world. And I'm never going to be one of those grown-ups that uses an umbrella when it's snowing, ever. Dad's school was closed too, so he took me and Jamie sledding down Skeleton Hill in the park. They say a little kid broke his neck while sledding down the hill a few years ago, but I don't know if this is actually true or just one of those legends. On the way home, I spotted this banged-up wooden sled kind of propped up against the old Indian Rock monument. Dad said to leave it. It was just garbage, but something told me it would make the greatest sled ever. So Dad let me drag it home, and I spent the rest of the day fixing it up. I super glued the broken slats together and wrapped the heavy-duty white duct tape around them for extra strength. Then I spray painted the whole thing white from the paint I had gotten from the alabaster sphinx I was making for the Egyptian Museum project. When it was all dry, I painted lightning in gold letters on the middle piece of wood, and I made a little lightning bolt symbol above the letters. It looked pretty professional, I have to say. Dad was like, "Wow, Jackie, you were right about the sled." The next day, we went back to the Skeleton Hill with Lightning. It was the fastest thing I'd ever ridden, so much faster than the plastic sled we'd been using. And because it had gotten warmer outside, the snow had become crunchier and wetter. Good packing snow. Me and Jamie took turns on Lightning all afternoon. We were in the park until our fingers were frozen, our lips had turned a little blue. Dad practically had to drag us home. By the end of the weekend, the snow had started turning gray and yellow, and the rainstorms turned most of the snow into slush. When we got back to school on Monday, there was no snow left. It was rainy and yucky, the first day back from vacation. A slushy day. That's how I was feeling inside, too. I nodded, "Hey," to August the first time I saw him. We were in front of the lockers. He nodded, "Hey," back. I wanted to tell him about Lightning, but I didn't. Fortune favors the bold. Mr. Brown's December precept was, "Fortune favors the bold." We were all supposed to write a paragraph about how sometimes in our lives when we did something very brave, and how, because of it, something good happened to us. I thought about this a lot, to be truthful. I have to say that I think the bravest thing I ever did was become friends with August. I could write about that, of course. I was afraid we'd have to read these out loud, or Mr. Brown would put them up on the bulletin board like he does sometimes. So instead, I wrote this lame thing about how I used to be afraid of the ocean when I was little. It was dumb, but I couldn't think of anything else. I wonder what Augie wrote about. He probably had a lot of things to choose from. All right, we'll stop there. So Jack says, okay, so Jack changed his mind about going to help August. That's not a question, I'm just telling you. What did Jamie do when he first saw Augie at the park last year? Number 2, there's a couple different answers, but what did Jack think about Augie? It says a couple different things. Number 3, Jack did Jack know why Augie was mad at him? That's number 3. Number 4, what did Jack find at when they went to Skeleton Hill? What did he find? And number 5, what was the bravest thing that Jack ever did? Number 5. All right, see you guys on Monday.